battle.
And Wu-Tang's out. Dave, it's all you.
I'm real disappointed.
All right, Dave. What about this schematic up here that they got?
You know, you got operators out there, they're going to try to run it like this. Do not do this. I think we're just going to have Woot do it.
No, I never heard this lumberjack. That's all you.
Running 2 tractors for 1 air slide. That's not the normal situation. Normally we'd have 1 tractor that has good hydraulics with air, but in this example, we got 2 tractors, 1 for air and 1 for hydraulics. Go on, Woot. Just start with this valve shut. Okay, this is just straight blow down from the motor. Now we're going to work our way back. Here's your atmosphere air. This is just going to give straight air to the motor. This is going to be shut, and we're opening up our vac line. That's how you'll be in the suck mode. But to start it, we're going to start off like this. We're going to have all our 4 valves here shut. Line, fluffers, top air, and blow down are going to be shut. We're going to have our blow down to the ground open. And that's how we'll start the motor.
Copy.
Good. Go on, Woot. This is our vac line going up to our vac tube. Within this box, we got a lever. This box here operates that upper valve. It goes from tank, sucking from the tank, or from the hydro hopper. For the hydro hopper, we're going to have it shut. This valve open. Now that we got the back set up, front set up to fire the motors, we're not going to run the motors for video's sake. One's running air, one's running hydraulics. We'll idle it up to 1200 on the hydraulics. We'll fire up our motor. Go on, Woot. And your atmosphere air valve. We are going to swap these 2 around. And now we're sucking from the hopper. Coming from the hopper back through the motor, or through the vac, and then through the filter, and right back down the line and to the tank. At this point in time, we can crack this slightly, just till it hisses. We'll shut this. We're not going to use top air, and your blow down valve will be shut. At this point, we're going to have our fluffers open, and we're going to just slowly rip open the belly valve. Belly valve is now all the way open, and we're moving product, not air. Our line pressures and dirty pressure and tank pressure will slowly start building. The longer it runs, the higher the pressure is going to come. So don't worry about building the tank pressure. Once we're done filling the hopper, we're going to move back to the front of the vehicle. First thing we're going to do is shut our belly valve. We're going to let it run in this position for just a short time to clear the lines. Don't worry about cranking this open. It'll send excess product at a higher rate than we want it to go. Once we're satisfied with the line being clear, we're going to switch back to atmosphere air. We're going to shut our lines and go to our blow down to the ground. At this point in time, the air is going from here to here and nowhere else, just in a loop right to the ground. At this point, always blow off all your pressure first. Empty the pressure in the tank. Always be sure you got no tank pressure before operating your top valve, or we'll blow the top seal on our vac. So once pressure's gone, we're going to operate that valve. Now we're going to be sucking from here through the back to the motor. At this point, this valve needs to be shut. Now we're building negative tank pressure. Let's go up front one more time and make sure our valves are correct. Now that we got the back set up, we're going to shut our blow down valve so we can build negative pressure. At this point, we're going to swap these two valves. And now we're sucking the air from the tank and shooting it to the ground. Waiting for this gauge to go to -10, but you will hear either this pop off, it's a reverse pop off that'll go off on suction, or there's one up in the front. You'll hear when you can no longer build any more negative pressure because of a hissing sound. But in this particular one, it went to about -11 was the max we could build. And once you hit the max, then you're going back to the front, and that's where we're going to swap our valves to clean our vacuum can. We have negative pressure as well on our tank. Once we have achieved negative pressure, up to about -11 would be sufficient. We're now going to swap atmosphere to tank. So now once again you're blowing right back to the ground. And then you go back to the back again. At this point our gauges will be reading -10, and we're going to close our red valve up top. Now our valve is shut. This here is the never use valve if you're not open back to your tanks. With this valve here and this valve here. Now you're going to be able to go back to the tank and you'll open this up, slight crack, and you'll hear it hissing because it's sucking the air in, and the product's going to fall down. Falls with gravity only. At that point, with this valve open and this valve open, you are good to use your fluffer. With this valve shut and this red valve up there shut, never operate this valve. So now you're just going to basically gravity feed this back in. You're going to have a suction here, sucking it back into the tank. Sure that this vacuum is empty, you can go by tap. It'll be hollow sounding. We'll now shut these valves. And you may or may not have to build negative pressure again depending on how much you use cleaning the can. In the event that you got to build negative pressure, go ahead and do it. And then we're going to clean the filter in the front. So in order to clean the filter in the front, you have to have this valve open. And we'll move to the front. Go on, Woo. While we have negative pressure, we're going to switch these valves over. So you're going to be here, it's going to be going back through the can, back into the tank. So, to clean this filter here, we're going to do a reverse suck through the motor. We'll move on to the blow down valve in the front, and we're going to open that. Now you're reverse sucking in here, back through the filter in and out, back into the tank. At this point, the filter will suck for a while and it'll be clean enough. So the two biggest things is people either smash this filter by not cleaning it, or they explode it by running too much air right here. This valve will just crack open, so it's not running too much air all at once, or the filter will explode. Vice versa, if you don't clean it, this filter will collapse.
Is it going to happen, Dave?
It's gonna happen. You're gonna blow this filter. Hopefully we get new ones. In the back, in the back on top, it's gonna happen. That seal's gonna blow. You're gonna have to get your way up there and put the seal back on. Go on, Whoop. So every time we blow off, this back can has got to be emptied, and the filter up front by the motor must be clean. Period.
And here's Whoop.
Go on, Whoop. Hey, Whoop. You gonna learn how to run this or not?
As soon as you learn how to run that.